next first, and I know a lot of you, I presented some material in the past, so I always enjoy it. You guys are very engaging. This one is kind of special to me because I just feel like every agent should at least try a little bit of this. I think the fear around expired listings is you think you need to lock into your seat and just start dialing. And I don't think that's the case, regularly. If this, even if you're not built for this, I would say even if you generated one expired conversion a month, that's a way to raise capital for your business. So that's why I like presenting this class, just because I like cheap. Anything that you can do if you don't have to throw money at it is the best way to start your business. Because I think many agents, especially during this transition time, this time on pause, people immediately go to how can I spend money to fix the problem? And what I've learned over the years is usually money doesn't fix problem. First, you have to go in to figure out how to raise that money in the real estate business. Then those problems get fixed because you're raising capital. So let's go. A second, here we go. So why call an expired? This is and this is what's very interesting. Approximately 90% of expireds still have a desire to sell their house. Okay, think about it like this: the expired listing is a person that's already been through the quote unquote spiel. If you think of dating, or relationships, right? They've already had an experience with agents. They've already kind of went through the process, and that's why I love expireds, because they've been through the process. So, and they still have intent. Usually they're just brokenhearted. They're disappointed by the fact, two major reasons. Number one, they didn't sell it. And number two, usually it's the agent. They have some issue with the agent. And that's what I love about it. So expireds, why call it expired? And this is a challenge that many agents have. They don't believe this. They do not believe this, Carl. The typical expired listing, the first week, everyone's calling. We're so new leads drunk in this world. We're so new leads drunk. Like, oh, give me the new leads from Zillow. Give me the new leads from Realtor.com. Give me the new leads from Remax.com. Give me the new expired leads. Guys, the goal is actually not in that first week. You're going to get the first week rebounders, I call. Think about relationship, guys. I want you to focus on relationships. The rebound relationship, the one that signs up right away, the one that gives them the smile, and then, ooh, I'm going to go right with that person. Okay, think about that. Just so I can play with your mind for a second and how it relates outside of the real estate space. So the first week, boom. If they weren't getting calls before, now all of a sudden everyone's calling the house. All the agents, hey, Sally, I've got buyers. So the homeowner's usuly excited, right? Notice that the homeowner's excited because, like, oh my gosh, pause for the foghorn. So usually the agent the homeowner is pretty excited because they didn't have the influx of these calls before. So in fact, if you just imagine the homeowner at home talking to their partner or loved one, they go, oh my gosh, you see, we're trying to sell this house. Johnny lied to us. He said there was no buyers. Look, there's a boatload. All these agents are calling about their buyers. Okay, watch this. 1 month into it, though, the activity starts to slow. The agents start to slow down because why? Agents are so focused on the new leads. If you can't get that expired signed up in the first week expired, you're thinking something's wrong. Okay, so the agent flow starts to slow down and the owner feels rejected. And I'll go through this flow again, break it down. But here's the thing, in that first month though, once the owner starts feeling rejected, they start being a little more open-minded to the conversation. The key to the expired call is identify what happened. Think about this. Go back to dating, for example. Again, go back to dating. And I'm no dating guru. I'm no love doctor. But I want you to think about the fundamentals of relationship building between people. Isn't it true that the person that listens the most to someone else is the person that's, you're usually more interested in them. If they talk about themselves too much, you know who I'm talking about. That guy or girl who talks to themselves, oh, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I'll take you on all these trips, I'm the greatest, business person ever. The person's usually on the other end has been turned off, especially if they've been engaged with another person or another agent. They've already been told this stuff. They've been lied to before. So many agents take the approach when they call the homeowner, hi, did your listing expire? First of all, that's the worst line ever. Did your listing expire? It's crazy. Okay, hey, I heard your listing's off the market. Just go try to create this natural flow and don't talk about your company. You need to identify, first of all, just FYI for compliance, you need to identify the company. You don't say, I'm the best agent. You don't say, I'm the best company, because that's not what they want to hear. Expires want you to listen. See, for sale by owners, and we won't go on that, that's another class, they want you to help them. Expireds actually just want you to listen more. They want to express their feelings. So what's interesting is, though, the sweet spot in expired is actually about a month in, from my experience. That's the sweet spot. The super sweet spot is 3 months to 6 months down the line, but agents don't believe it. And why the 3 months, 6 months? Because what happens is 3 months in, most of the agents that called that first week, they're still calling the first week expireds, those agents. The super producers are calling those 3 months out, calling up and saying, hey, how are you making out? Everyone will just come up with this complex dialogue, right? But if you really think about it, goes back to relationships and dating. What do they really want to hear? They just want, hey, how's it going? How's it going? How are you making out? Because at that point, though, 3 months out, they feel rejected. They feel depressed. They feel like, oh my gosh, they still want to sell their house, but they haven't quite connected with an agent yet. And by 6 months, they're absolutely angry, especially if they still want to sell their house. So the main purpose of the call, the only purpose of the call is to move the sellers from the phone to a meeting. If you start talking about, oh, hey, Mike, what should I do with my house? Should I reduce the price? What commission do you charge? All these things, guys, it means that you didn't start out with the right intention. The right intention, you must listen. And I hope you're going to ask questions after, guys, because I know there's some naysayers in the crowd. There always is. But Mike, they're going to hang up on me. But Mike, they're angry at me. They're not angry at you. I want to share some other stuff with you. When you call them and they're angry, there's probably a couple of different reasons. Number one, there was an influx of calls. If you got 100 calls within like 2 days, and you've got a dog, a cat, you're a loved one in the house, you're just going through some stuff, and you're hearing the same thing, I'm John from ABC Realty, and I'm Sally from ABC Realty, you're going to get annoyed. So of course they're going to be a little bit angry, but they're not angry at you, they're just angry at what the situation is. So it's not about presenting over the phone, it's about efficiently opening the door for as many potential working relationships as possible. Right? The rationale behind all expired is the same. Let's sit down and talk to see if I'm a viable option for you. And in today's virtual world, let's have a Zoom meeting. Let's have a Zoom meeting. Let's have a face-to-face. So the main purpose of the call is you're willing to call because you truly believe you have the capability to add value. Stop saying you have buyers. Stop saying you're the best. Stop saying you have all these reviews. Stop it. You have to add value to the call. And we'll share what that value is as we go through this presentation. If you're reluctant to make expired calls, then deep down inside, you don't believe you add value. You don't believe you add value. I don't know what to say. We're going to cover what to say in a little bit. But if you truly believe that when you call, you're going to add value, then the person probably is not going to hang up the phone on you, and they want to hear what you have to say. So then you owe every expired in your market the opportunity to meet you and determine if they can benefit from your approach. Right, think about it, guys. How many listings that were expired got listed with someone in your marketplace that you were like, how the heck did they list with this person? This person is a terrible agent, right? I know what you're feeling, guys. In your mind, you're thinking that. But the reality was, are they really a terrible agent, or or did they listen more, and were they tenacious? Were they following up and adding more value to the call? Keep in mind, you can't control what expired sellers ultimately say or do. All you can do is control the number of relationships you open the door on a daily basis. More relationships, guys. I use this all the time. It is a numbers game. Numbers game sounds like a dirty word because you're thinking, oh, you're not treating people correctly. No, the more relationships you have, the luckier you get. So for better results, become a mad prospector. Top listings get mad. First, you have to be mentally tough. And this is where some people hit the deck. They get scared. Oh my God, Mike, they're going to hang up the phone on me. They're going to hang up the phone. Stop it. Remember, if they hang up the phone, it's either the influx of calls or just you caught them at a bad time. If they were watching their favorite Netflix show, or they were just like, I don't know, let's say they got a dog and the dog pooped in the house. I don't know, you might have caught them at a bad time. So you just have to be mentally tough when calling. You have to be committed because just like a diet, you have to be committed. So if you're not committed to calling at least for an hour a day, no, Mike, I can't commit to an hour. Remember, some of these things that I teach all the time is your first piece of your business every day is you're generating new business. Everyone thinks you got a service first. Actually, you have to generate new business, 1 hour a day at least. So, and then detach from the outcome. If their dog pooped and you got to go clean the dog, and they got to clean, don't be mad. Don't be like, wait, don't clean the poop. Talk to me. Detach from the outcome. They're not mad at you. They're not mad at you. So before the call session, this is where it gets a little bit cheesy. But that's why I like the momentum piece, because there's some stuff in there that actually, although it's kind of, I don't know, cliche, weird, a little bit Tony Robbins-esque, it's actually something that can really, really help. So first, review your office mission. Maybe it's your team mission. Maybe it's your mission. Go out there, figure out what it is, why are you in the real estate business? Because it's going to pump you up. When you call these people, that it helps me detach from the outcome. Then your vision, then your values. Know that you are a good agent. You deserve this listing better than anybody else, because you know Sally, your colleague from the office, listen to the colleagues from the office, outside of the office, you know that Sally, she's not as committed as you. She didn't work as hard as you. Okay, review your core beliefs. Then you should rehearse. This is where a lot of people say, oh, Mike, I don't want to rehearse it. Guys, I was talking to one of our top producers yesterday in the office. You know what he said? He said, Mike, the other day presentation you gave, I noticed you were role playing yourself, and I do the same thing. And that's why this guy's a top producer. You always have to rehearse the expired scripts. And now what happens at the beginning, once you've got the foundation, then you got your own scripts in your head. You actually start answering your own questions. You got to be careful if you're talking to your car to yourself. You might get pulled over, or if people said to the insane asylum. But guess what? It works. What if I said this to that person and then they said that? You got to practice the scripts. Okay, then visualize it. Visualize the success. Visualize that you're going to make this money. You're here to, your duty is to generate revenue to help grow your business. Your duty is to generate revenue. Stop with the whole, I'm going to do Facebook, I'm going to do this. Stop it. Because every person that I've met, and I hate to say this, Carl, and we talk about social media all the time, but I've noticed a lot of people who've got like 10,000 followers, 5,000 followers. Then when they go to their Zillow profile, they've got 3 transactions. Because why? Because if they don't know how to generate the leads, the business, that passive business comes later. My personal opinion. And by the way, some people don't know me, okay, multiple times, and I only share this just to create validity for those that know me. Multiple times I've been in the Diamond Club, right? So I've shared this. This is not just some guy on a stage, Tom Ferry. And by the way, Tom Ferry is fantastic. So let me be clear about that. What I'm saying is that I'm a guy that's actually been in the trenches that has done this. Okay, this is you're not signing up for $29 after this for some course. I'm sharing my knowledge with you guys over here. Okay, so during the call session, I think you should stand up. I'm sitting down right now, but sometimes I'm breathing. I got to get with it. I got to drink my water with the electrolytes. Okay, stand up. Get crazy. Get a cordless headset that has a mic that filters the noise in the background. It filters the noise in the background. Why? Because what's the one reason why you hang up the phone when someone calls your house? They sound like they're calling from a call center. And stop it. You don't blame the office environment. Okay, because all you need to do is just it's like $120. You get a noise canceling microphone, not headset. Don't do what I did. I bought the noise canceling headset. It was these big earphones. I couldn't hear anybody. And I was like, hello? Get something that knocks out the noise in the back. When you're calling people, it literally sounds like you're in your house and you hear nothing. And right, you heard the foghorn before. Nobody wants to be distracted in these calls. So remain upbeat. You have to, you guys. You're in the wrong business if you're not. Every day something goes on in all of our lives. Hopefully it's all positive, but you got to remain upbeat. Don't call them and say, oh, did you see the stock market today? That's not, people are just not going to subscribe to that. Did you see what happened with the president? And I know I said it just to get your attention. Did you see what happened? Because I remember I've been through 20 years in the business. I've been through different cycles. Don't engage in a conversation. That's not the way to get people engaged. Remember, we're talking about the expired listing. The key here is to listen to what happened. Sound genuinely interested in what they're saying. Most agents, again, remember what I just said? You got to be an active listener about what they're saying. And of course, stay hydrated, because you know why? You don't want to faint, and you just want to be upbeat. When you're not hydrated, you start to lose focus. After each call, you should really be doing this. Again, I understand agents are not the most organized people. They're just not. They're salespeople. The famous line is, I just want to talk to more people, Mike. I just want to talk to more people. But you got to be a little bit organized. I'm the same way. You just have to rate the call. I would do this. This is what I love about the RE/MAX Momentum program, is that it gives you these little basic checklists that you can either use or create your own. You have to have a little something. You don't have to always be a ninja and have like these Excel spreadsheets that the algorithms. Stop it. For a long time, and I still use a legal pad. I love what's in this program, but I still use a legal pad, even today. Okay, review the script, rehearse. So basic truths of the listings. Okay, home sell for two reasons, price and exposure, yes or yes? Yes. 95% of all buyers are represented by a realtor, yes or yes? Probably it's a little bit more these days. Realtors are not looking through home ads and taking virtual tours. Guys, we know that realtors who are working with buyers, maybe today during this pause, New York City is still on pause, but we know that good agents are out there actively showing buyers when they can safely do it, right, during these times, when they can safely do it, but they're actively showing buyers. They're not looking through these virtual tours, oh, this is a great property. We know those are agents that are wasting their time. We know that buyers agents typically are trying to understand the buyer's needs and go out there and show. Home selling all 4 quarters, yes or yes? Stop the madness. Oh, it's the summertime, it's Memorial Day, it's New Year's, it's Hanukkah, it's Christmas, it's the school year starting. Come on, stop the madness. If you look at the data, home selling all 4 quarters. Pricing home is neighborhood specific. If you're not knowing the data of your home, I know Carl and Olivier do an amazing job with market updates. And Jason, shout out to Jason. Okay, my approach is intentional and proactive. You're gonna let the homeowner know that you are proactive. But you have to demonstrate that to them, guys. You have to demonstrate. If you're not following up, like you say, if you made a promise and you didn't fulfill your promise, you're not being proactive, you're not being intentional. So guess what? They're experiencing you before they get to experience of you. And if they're experiencing you now and it sucks, guess what? They're thinking it's probably gonna suck. You're just like the rest of the other agents that called. You're just like the agent I had before. You're just like my previous boyfriend or girlfriend. Ding, 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 right? Think about a guy's relationships. I know you're smiling. You're like, oh, well, I haven't had a boy. I'm married for 30 years. Guys, just think back for a second. Okay, we must start with the appropriate plans and strategies. Sound like you have a strategy on the phone. Mike, they don't give me enough time. They may not be ready to be open to you yet. That's the key. You have to have the plan and strategy once they tell you it's safe to go through that. Costs, another famous line, and people don't believe it. Cost is only an issue in the absence of value. If you're not giving value to these folks, okay, they're immediately asking, what's the commission? Usually people put that up there. Guys, when the rebuttal comes, what's your commission? Right, it's two. Number one, it's either they're ready to engage, or two, they're doing it to get you off the phone. You could say 0% commission. They're going to be like, well, that's too much. And they just want you off the phone. I'm not seeking your listing. I don't want you to sign up. I just want to talk. But you have to mean it. You have to mean it. Okay, you just want a conversation. There are 2 very different approaches to listing homes. Okay, the first goal, building the consistency habit. Okay, any new activities to build confidence. That's the key, guys, confidence. Stop thinking you're going to go list 30 homes in 1 month. You got to build a confidence. And the only way to build confidence is through consistency. So I'm going to skip through some of these slides. Of course, opening the phone dialogue. I'm not going to necessarily read off these slides. I'm going to give you mine. But I like to point these out because this is a very, very basic but very fundamental dialogue. But I'm going to kind of tell you how I open it up. But I'm going to go with this first. Hi, my name is Michael. I'm with RE/MAX. Edge, I noticed your home is listing expired today. I was calling to see if you have a still desire to sell your house. Now, guys, this is the very basic. If you've already gotten more consistent, I personally am not going with this one. And I think it's a very good one, but I think as you get more advanced, you're going to get hung up on more. Because remember, I told you before, using the word expired. Okay, number one, if the homeowner doesn't know what the heck expired is, okay, or they know because now 100 agents call them, stop it. They immediately know you're an agent. Stop having agent breath. When you call them, I notice your house is off the market. The first question is, do you still want to sell your house? It's weird. Even if they got 100 calls, do you still want to sell your house? Well, yeah, but I don't want to sign anything. I don't want to sign anything. Well, I didn't ask you to sign anything. I just want to have a conversation with you. By the way, that's not on the slide. I just want to have a conversation. Well, I don't want to have a conversation with you. I'm not ready to sell yet. And then just go right into it. Well, can I ask you a question? Right? Ask for permission. The key to a lot of times is ask permission. Can I ask you just a question, Carl? Can I ask you a question? Where are you thinking about going? Why should I tell you that? That's too personal. No, I'm just curious, right? You live in Jersey, and I'm a guy who lives in South Jersey, and I was just curious. By the way, I live in Brooklyn, New York, but I was just curious. I live in South Jersey, and I was wondering where most people who live in South Jersey, I was curious, where do they think about moving to? Try that line, guys, because you're opening a conversation. Believe it or not, sometimes people expire because they really didn't know where they wanted to go. They didn't have a plan in place. Where do you think about going? Actually, I really didn't know. I was thinking about retiring. My husband, he's a police officer and he's about a year away from retirement. I was thinking about moving to Florida, but Florida's too hot. Guys, they'll run through the dialogue now. Now you've opened up a conversation. You're talking about them, not you. You guys got that? I hope so. Talking about them. Where are you moving to? What was your experience so far? When you have you even gone to look at places in Florida? Did you go look at places in Connecticut? Remember, you're starting a conversation. Becoming more effective. The opening line. Hey, Mike. Hi, my name is Mike. I'm with Remax. By the way, again, I'm going to be talking about the momentum slides, but then I'm going to talk a little bit about how I approach it as well, a little more advanced. But this is definitely very, very good. So don't think that I said more advanced, that this is not good. This is good to gain consistency and then make it your own. Hi, my name is Mike. I'm with Remax Edge. I know your house listed. House listing expired today. I was calling to see if you're still selling your house. Okay, this is the very aggressive approach. Yes, great. When would be a good time for me to come by and share my proactive plan? No, have your plans changed? So they say no. Then you ask them, hey, have your plans changed? What changed? Some people were selling, especially if it's investment property. Some people were selling their house because they need some cash. Right, you're going to get that now today during this time. If they owned a business, they may be cash light. You're trying to find out why they were selling their house, right? Write that down. You're trying to find out why they were selling their house, okay? And you're going to try to find out what they were going to do next. Most agents, when they're calling expires, they don't even care. They go right, oh, I'll list your house today. I'll get top dollar. Your agent stunk. I'm the best agent. Okay, find out where they were going and what happened. And then here's a beautiful one, guys. Here's a beautiful one. Why did you feel your house didn't sell? This is a go-to question. This is something that's very, staying curious. This is what I love, is staying curious is the key to this all. Ask more questions and listen. Why do you feel your house didn't sell? I don't really know. Right? And so most agents will go to the real negative part. Just ask more questions then. Did you have a lot of showings? And I get it, for the naysayers, there's going to be objections. There's going to be objections, right? So did you have a lot of showings? No, why are you asking me that? Get off the phone. No, I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Did you have a lot of showings? I'm just curious. Did you have a lot of showings? Mike, I had 15 showings, okay? Okay. What was the feedback from the showings? Did you get any feedback? Why do you keep asking me this, Mike? John, I'm just trying to have a conversation with you. I'm just trying to have a conversation. Mike, I'm not giving you the listing, though. I didn't ask for the listing. I'm just having a conversation. Can I ask you another question, John? Would you allow me, would you allow me to ask this question? Did you have any buyers who came through your home, buy another home? So the buyers that came to your house, did they buy another house? I know the Jersey peeps. They want to go right to the punchline. Did the buyers come through your house? Did they buy another house? Did any house similar to yours, while it was on the market, did it sell? And let me ask you, can I ask you another question? Remember, always ask for permission every time you ask a question. Can I ask you one more question, John? How did you arrive at the price? Mike, my agent picked the price. Well, you had to agree, John. If the agent picked the price, how did the agent arrive at the price? Did you know that the pricing benchmarks and trends, there are pricing trends and benchmarks that exist in your area? Did you know that? Are you aware of the quarterly trends? Did you have a price reduction while your house on the market? Mike, you should know that. John, come on, John. There are hundreds of homes that go up on the market, and I never told you I studied your house. I'm just letting. I'm just asking. Do you have a price reduction? Were you informed of the consequences of pricing too high in your neighborhood? I don't feel like my price is too high, Mike. I never said that. I just asked you, were you informed that there were pricing too high in neighborhood? Are you aware of price per square foot ranges? Okay, no, right? So all these questions could lead to a no. And then here comes the value prop, guys. Here's the punch. Do you think this kind of information would be of value to you in your attempt to sell your house? Right? And I know somebody wants to give you a hard time later, but we just, for all intents and purposes, to get through the presentation, let's go. Yes. Then when would be a good time for me to set up a Zoom or come to your house to discuss this and share this information with you? Remember, I like to give two choices. I have a 7. First, I ask, are you an evening person or are you a morning person? I'm an evening person. Does 5 o'clock work or does 7 o'clock work? Always give 2 choices. Okay, here we go, guys. These are things that you're waiting for. I wish you guys would stop calling me. Remember, seek to understand. Seek to understand. I know Adam Contis brings up that up a lot. You know, I understand your frustration. And I know, here we go, the naysayers. Mike, it sounds so cheesy. Guys, then you're in the wrong business. If you really genuinely don't care, then you're in the wrong business. So yeah, I understand your frustration. It's my intent not to harass you, but rather to find out why your house didn't sell. We are going to relist with our current agent. Guys, remember, these are some rebuttals that will get you off the phone. We're going to relist with our agent. Great. Have you signed an extension yet? If yes, then you end the call. Remember, guys, if they sign an extension that is non-compliant for basically every MLS in the United States, okay? And it's just absolutely weird. So don't be rogue, okay? If they sign an extension, get off the call. We're going to take it off the market. Well, let me ask you a question, Sally. If you could sell your house in the next 30 to 45 days, would you? Remember, stay curious. Are you saying you could sell my house in 30 to 45 days? I am. Here we go. I am. However, I first want to make sure the plan we implement falls within your definition of a win. What do you mean? This is the line that I really don't care for when people are using the word expired. What do you mean my listing has expired? You know, when I hear this, I think the best way to do it is, you know, I would say, hey, your listing came off the market. Sometimes, isn't it true, guys? Especially during this time when we're on pause, there are a lot of agents that hit under a rock, and they never even communicated with their client. So sometimes those listings expired, interestingly enough, without even the agent knowing and without even the homeowner knowing. So you say, hey, listen, actually the MLS shows that your home is no longer available for sale. Okay, this is a little extra. Do you have a copy of your listing agreement? When was the last time you heard from the agent? Here's another famous one. My realtor told me it's the wrong time of the year. It's been my experience that homes sell in all 4 quarters. Did your agent show you the quarterly trends for your neighborhood? Would you see the value in that kind of information? Right? Please don't ever be that realtor that uses or agent rather, that says, oh, your house didn't sell because of the holidays. Your house didn't sell because of this. Guys, we know why the house didn't sell. Either it was a poor marketing job, it wasn't in the proper MLSs, poor exposure, or price. No, it wasn't because it was in front of a highway. No, it wasn't because of in front of a space. It's because if it's in front of a highway, then the price should have been adjusted accordingly. Yes or yes? So why didn't it sell? Houses sell all times of the year. This is a line I like to say, and this is more true than ever before. Think about this, Sally. The reason why this is true, it wasn't the wrong time of the year, is if you've been searching, right? So I know according to a lot of stats, whether it's Zillow, NAR, you know, Betty Buyer, when she shops for a house, she spends a few weeks of research. She spends a few weeks to research homes for sale. So what that means is, let me ask you a question. If she were to be shopping for 6 months, and then her house of her dreams comes on the market. If that was you, Sally, would you jump off the couch and go look at that house, or would you say, you know what, it's the wrong time of the year? This is the wrong time of the year. I don't feel like going out and looking at houses. And that's the reason why I always tell agents, stop with the madness, stop blaming it on the holiday, the long weekend, the summertime, the this, the that, because you are not being that proactive agent. You're not being the data empowered agent. You're just coming up with some any old excuse to make it sound like, you know what, blame it on something else. But actually, in reality, it wasn't that thing. It was just because the other things we talked about, you know, poor location, poor price usually, and poor exposure. So here's another one, guys. Do you have a buyer for my house? Everyone freaks out when they hear this, right, Carl? Yep. You have to say no. Otherwise, you're going to be the agent that's going to lie to the homeowner again. I don't care how many buyers you got in your pipeline. Say I don't have a buyer for your house. If you genuinely do, I still don't like it. Because open listing, provide value. If you're going after the listing, and that's going to be that's the client you want, then don't tell me you have a buyer right now. So you have a buyer for your house, not currently. However, I do receive calls on a daily basis. Should your home fit that criteria for one of my buyers? I would be the first one to show it. Now, the reason why I do that, guys, you want to set the tone. Because if you're chasing expireds regularly, the reason why most agents get deflated is because they bring, by the way, rogue, Carl, sorry, I'm going to go rogue for a second. We know those agents out there who try this approach, but then they burn out quickly. They bring their cousin to the house because they don't want to bring their actual customer. They bring their cousin, you know, and they bring the cousin to the house to show the house, make believe they have a buyer. Oh, this is a buyer. You know, Johnny's really hot for this neighborhood over here, and Johnny's interested, right, John? Right? You're interested in the property, John? Yeah. And it's their cousin. Stop it. This is crazy. You're wasting so much time. And guess what? Remember when I go back, if I had time, I'd go back to all the beginning of the slides. That first week, that's why the homeowner's upset by week 2 and week 3, because the agents have tried everything. Right? The agents say, I've got a buyer. Can I come over right now? And then they go over right now and they say, oh, my buyer had to go to work today. You know, come on, guys. You know you've done that before. My buyer had to go to work, but oh, by the way, let me tell you how I can sell your house. Terrible approach. I'm sorry. I'm not looking at, you know, the funny thing about Zoom, I don't get a chance to look at all your eyes. So I'm sorry if you're that agent that takes that approach. And it might have worked for you before, but it's not long-term. Usually it's high burnout because you keep bringing these fake buyers. And first off, it's illegal. Stop. Don't bring fake buyers. And please don't bring buyers to the house. Here we go. How do you charge? That's a great question. It's a great question. Acknowledge them. Don't just agents immediately sweep it under the rug. You know, then bring up another topic. Address it. Since my commission is understandably very important to you, ready? How about I come over and share my plan to sell your house, and at the end of our meeting, I'll let you determine what I'm worth. Is that fair? And I'll do my best to end this, you know, a few minutes before, so you can ask some questions and beat me up on some of these things. I know some people are like, oh, Mike, you'll never get the time to say that. I challenge you to this. Stop being new leads drunk. Call the second week, third week, fourth week, fifth week. You'll start to break through and be able to have these conversations. Okay. I'm going to go through some power phrases over here, guys. You should never say no until you know what you're saying no to. There may be opportunities available you never knew existed. Here's another worst case scenario. You'll find out exactly why your home didn't sell and receive a specific plan on how to get it sold. Who knows? We may just find out we speak the same language. Okay, these are just like closing punchlines. At this point, what do you have to lose? Now, these are aggressive lines. So for those, that's why it says advanced. So for aggressive agents that have been following consistently, sometimes you just want to get right to the punchline. Get out of the friend zone. At this point, what do you have to lose? You gave your previous agent, by the way, these advanced dialogue, you're going to get some heat. So know that if you try this, you're going to get some, you gave your other agent 6 months. How about giving me 1 hour? I know, make that smile. Oh gosh, I would never say that. Most people wouldn't. But I've personally used these dialogue, but I've consistently followed up with that same person. And eventually, right, go back to relationship, guys. Isn't it true if you're always in the friend zone, okay, you're always going to be forever in the friend zone. If you don't ask for the business, you don't get the business. So sometimes you just got to get up and say, hey, how about give me an hour? What do you mean hour? You gave the other person a chance. I wish you people would stop calling me. I understand, John. I understand your frustration. It's not my intent to harass you. As I said, I specialize in a home like yours. So would it be worth an hour of your time to see if it might be a better approach to getting your house sold? Hey, worst case scenario, you'll find exactly why your house didn't sell. You gave your previous agent 6 months. I'm only asking for an hour, John. So what do you say? Really, at this point, what do you have to lose? So you stack them all together. You stack them all together. And I promise you, I'm going to keep repeating myself until you get it, until I program you. Send those vibes. Consistency is the key. If you use this line once, it's like it's like getting on the Peloton for my Peloton friends, which by the way, I'm not on. I feel so uncool. It's like getting on the Peloton once and say, oh, I'm losing 20 pounds. I went on once. You're not losing 20 pounds and getting on the Peloton once. Right, Carl? Yeah, good. Carl hates me. I don't know why he hates me today. Carl's giving me the, I'm just kidding. So getting, it's the same thing with expireds. Consistency. Another one where they say they're going to relist with the agent, sometimes it's because they're building a wall. I'm going to relist with my agent. They're just trying to get you off the phone. Oh, I'm just relisting my agent, John. Stop calling me. Relist my agent. And then again, if they say they're listed with their agent, if you sign an extension, you say, okay, well, let me ask you this. If they said no, what do you plan, ready? What do you plan to do different? This is powerful, guys. What do you plan to do differently this time around? No, she was a good person. She brought a lot of buyers. Right, but we're in the success-based business. Performance matters. What do you or your agent plan to do differently this time around? Self-discovery, folks. Self-discovery is the power to this whole thing here. Let them process that for a second. That's why it's all about the power of the follow-up. If you're going to go right for the punch, it's not going to always win, because sometimes once they self-discover, then it's the power of the follow-up. And then when you follow up, they'll say, Mike, I see what you're saying the other day. I'll give you that hour. So, right, what do you plan to do differently this time around? Mike, I don't know. Then wouldn't it be worth an hour of your time to see if there's a better alternative to selling your house? Hey, worst case scenario, you'll find out exactly why your house didn't sell. You gave your previous agent 6 months, and I'm only asking for an hour. What do you say? Besides, I wouldn't be calling you if I didn't think I can help you. Confident, if I didn't think I can help you. I know the naysayers, but do you have buyers? Guys, anybody keeps asking that question, just say, no, I don't have buyers. If I'm representing the buyers, if they want to see your house, then I'll certainly bring them. What I'm trying to do is represent you, the seller. So we want to talk about the proactive approach. Yes or yes? Yes. Guys, this is valuable. Give me a little thumbs up, because Zoom sometimes is a little bit hard. Give me a little thumbs up, please. Good. It's a little bit hard because to keep people engaged, I just want to make sure I'm keeping you going. Otherwise, I'll skip over some slides over here. This is very heavy content, and I wish I had hours and hours to present this. This is stuff that I love to do with you guys. Here's another one, guys. We are going to take it off the market. They're trying to get you off the phone. We're going to take it off the market. Okay. So well, if you could sell your house next 40 to 45 days, well, would you? Would it be worth an hour of your time to see if there's a better approach? Notice how I'm bringing everything all together and I'm being repetitive. Consistency is key to the programming of this potential customer. They need to hear it. They need to hear you over and over again say the same thing. That wouldn't be worth an hour of your time? Wouldn't it be worth an hour of your time to see if there's a better approach? Let that sit with them. I'm only asking for an hour. And be upfront. Don't be scared. Tell them it takes an hour. Okay, so what do you say? Give me a chance. Right, what's the difference between a consultant and an agent? Right, so you're consulting, that's a great question, and the answer is all in the way they behave. Basically, a consultant asks instead of assumes. Listen, instead of talks is interested in satisfying your needs as opposed to simply taking the listing. Right, listen. What is the key to expires? Listening. Many agents are so quick to say, listen, RE/MAX is a great brand. We're the number one. We're the number one office. We're the most exposed. We're the most productive. That's a given. There's billboards everywhere. There's signage from social media. People should know who RE/MAX is at this point. And, for those agents that might not be RE/MAX right now, I'm sure there's another approach to you guys, but they should know already, especially if they got a call maybe from another RE/MAX agent. That's why you want to talk to them about even possibly your competitors who might be even in the RE/MAX system. I don't want to just take the listing. I want to understand, seek to understand, right? Kanto said it, seek to understand, seek to understand. Okay, let them know you're interested, you're curious. I don't want to just take the listing, okay? I want to understand what happened. Take a pause. I want to understand what happened. So is there a time we can meet this week? Just discuss a specific plan. Remember, bring up the objection. Bring up the objection. Okay, bring up the objection first. My friend John Cheplack, he said it, right? So bring the objection to the forefront. Bring it to the front. Hey, I'm not going to ask you to sign anything. You know it's coming, guys, so bring it to the front. I'm not going to ask you to sign anything. Because the truth of the matter is, you shouldn't ask anybody to sign anything until you provide enough value so they got to know you, until you understand what they're going through. Because guess what? Here comes the naysayers. When they finally saw the value in you, they're going to ask, well, where do I sign? Remember, this is, guys, if you check my stats over the years, this has worked for me. It's not some program. I've used this before. Most agents don't give it enough of a chance. I just want to be left alone. And by the way, Carl will send these slides to you so you have it. I skipped over a couple pieces for time purposes. I know some people can have questions. So I just want to be left alone. You're all the same. Go back to relationships. If someone broke up with their person, okay, and now you're trying to court that person, sometimes at the beginning they just need time to heal. They need time to understand what happened in their previous relationship, right? This is stuff that you can relate to. They want to understand what happened in their previous relationship. Same thing with homeowners. They want to understand what freaking happened. We know the stats are there. NAR says it. RE/MAX says it. The stats are there. They're going to relist their house. The odds are in your favor. So many people love to go to Vegas and Atlantic City and spend their money. The odds are completely in your favor. Over 90% of people are relisting their house with an agent. The stats are there. You're all the same. So I know you're upset. I know you're upset. And believe me, you have the right to be. Acknowledge. You have the right to be. Don't they have the right? 100 agents call them, harassing. I mean, come on. You're lucky they're not calling the do not call people on them. So what I'm attempting to do by calling is to demonstrate my assertiveness. The way I see it, had your last agent been proactive, your house would have sold by now. Now, by the way, this is advanced language because and this is language that if you've already started to communicate with this customer over and over, then you should start to getting aggressive. This may not work in the opening line. The way I see it, your last agent wasn't as proactive. Your home would have sold by now. All I'm asking you to do is channel your frustration in a positive direction. Lead them, guys. Your job as a consultant is to lead them down this pathway of self-discovery into a more positive environment. Positive direction by meeting with me. I know if you give me a chance, you will indeed discover a better alternative for you and guys, be compliant, guys. So New York, for you and your loved ones, if you want to say it. Stay away from family. It's you and your loved ones, okay? Or just you, whoever. If you've been communicating, if you know that what their structure is, say it, but stay away from this for compliance. I know Carl will appreciate that, okay? You and your loved ones or loved ones, okay? You gave the previous realtor, all I'm asking is for an hour. That's all I'm asking for is an hour. Oh, here's another one, guys. This is another one you love. I love this one. Why didn't you show my home when it was for sale? Oh, right. And then everyone freezes up, right? Carl, oh my God, I didn't show the house. So what do I say? Oh, I was busy. I had all these buyers, right? Ready? Acknowledge. That's a great question. And I appreciate you asking. You see, I'm not just in the business of showing houses. I'm in the business of satisfying needs. So obviously your home didn't match the criteria for any of my clients, otherwise I would have shown it. Besides, is it about showing the house or is it about selling the home? Okay, who in the last 15 days has consulted with you on how to get your house sold? And would it be worth an hour of your time to see if there's a better alternative for you? Notice how this is all tying in. once you start practicing. Hey, worst case scenario, you'll find out exactly why your house didn't sell and receive a proactive plan for getting it sold. Item of value alert, item of value alert. You'll receive a proactive plan of how to get it sold, right? Right. This is what they'll do. Shh. Hey, honey, you think we should have this guy Mike come over? He's got this plan. I think we should just get him to come over. He said it's free and we don't have to sign anything. All right, Mike, come on over. Come on over. Yeah. No, yeah, you're right, Mike. I want to see the proactive plan. Boom. The door is open now. Okay. I wouldn't be calling if I didn't think I can help you. I wouldn't be calling if I didn't think I can help you. I mean, and this is, guys, this is not for everyone. So if this is not if you're not your personality, don't use this line. I mean, really, at this point, what do you have to lose? This is pretty aggressive. This is pretty aggressive, but sometimes you need to, for those homeowners that want to hear the aggressiveness, right? Think about this. If you were in court and you had an attorney and you want somebody that's aggressive as your attorney, there are some folks in the marketplace that really want that aggressive agent. So you have to be now to be a chameleon. I know Carl talks about this a lot as well. And I think Olivia mentioned one time before, be a chameleon. If you know that these homeowners are aggressive, you got to show a little aggressiveness. If you're very mousy, get your house sold. They're not going to listen with you because you don't match their personality type. So you want to use a line like this. I'm out of your comfort zone. I mean, really, at this point, what do you have to lose? Okay, accountability is key, guys. We're about to wrap up because I'm excited to answer your questions. Accountability is key. This is a beautiful piece of paper that came so simplistic in its purest form over here. It came from Remax and Remax Momentum. Accountability is key, right? Peter Drucker says, what gets measured gets done. So basic. Okay, why do you think Peloton? I'll bring Peloton up, or treadmills, or the iPhone, the Apple Watches. They're measuring because it helps you become better at what you're doing, right? You have to know how many dials you're making, because it's really, when I built the team, we focused on productivity and accountability. So how many dials are you making? Many agents say, oh, Mike, but I called a couple of sellers. Okay, tell me how many sellers did you actually call? Well, I called 3 that hung up the phone on me. 3? Did you think that was enough, Johnny Agent? Did you think that was enough? All right, or sometimes the agents were going through the accountability piece. I know that I think Jason was doing the accountability. I saw some of those videos. And kudos to all the graduates of that program. Sometimes we're talking to the agents, oh yeah, I made 10 dials. Did you actually speak to anybody? I left a couple of voicemails. Oh, so let me ask you a question. If you left a couple of voicemails, did you think they were going to call you back after 100 other people might have called? So you want to measure this stuff. How many dials did you make? How many actual talks? How many sets? How many meetings, right? So here's another fun one. You make an appointment. I think the metric is 50% of the people are going to ghost you and cancel. It's normal. Don't get your heart broken. It's normal. People going to cancel. Oh, Mike, I had such a great conversation. You know that agent. You know who's on this call. Mike, I had such a great conversation. We're talking about our kids. We're talking about our Labradoodle. We're talking about Peloton. We're talking about the mirror. Stop. Because people want what they want. You got the great connection, but they may cancel on you. So you need to figure out, okay, why do they cancel? How do I increase the sets? How do I after meetings, right? So if you're not measuring how many meetings you're having, and then of course, listings. If you had 100 meetings and you've got only 1 listing, congratulations on your listing, but you need some improvement. Yes or yes? You need some improvement. And that's okay. That's why you're measuring it. Vulnerability as an agent is the key. I'm sure Jason, I know Carl talks about it, and Olivia, you got to be vulnerable. But I know egotistical, narcissistic agents, oh, I'm the best. I don't need to come to class. I don't need to do this. I don't need to study. I don't need to measure anything. You got to be vulnerable. That's how you can be coached. That's why I know Carl asked this question, are you coachable? The answer, are you coachable? Because coachability comes from vulnerability. You know what, Mike, I messed up. I messed up over here. This week I only had 20 dials. Okay. And here we go, the definition. This is what I was mentioning before. Dial is a phone attempt, not an email, not a snail mail, not a DM. Stop the madness. Oh, I was on Instagram and I DM'd somebody. Stop. You got to connect with people. We're in the connection business. The artificial intelligence and the robots still have not taken over yet, okay? So you need to connect with people. That's why you have a career. Yes or yes? Yes. Okay. So phone attempt, you've actually got on the phone and try to call them. Okay. And by the way, I know some of you guys have seen that ad, cold calling is dead, or warm calling is dead. Sign up today, send that Facebook ad. Stop it. We're in the relationship business. Okay. The minute that the Facebook ad and the Instagram ad is scaling your business without even a phone call, your career is over in real estate. We're in the relationship business, guys. Get on the phone, talk to them. Get on a Zoom today, virtual, baby. Talk, voice-to-voice contact with a live expired, not an answer machine, not a voicemail. You actually spoke to them. I know some of your agents right now, if you're being coached by someone, you're probably going to talk to your coach and say, yeah. I spoke to a bunch of people. And ultimately, you'll have voicemails. Stop, be vulnerable, guys. If you haven't spoken to them, the point is this: how are you going to get results from people through a voicemail? You're not. Sets. You've set a specific time to meet. Not the famous line that when I coach agents inside and outside our company, they ask, oh, well, yeah, Mike, I set some appointments, but they gave me a verbal. The famous line, right? Carl, I see you right on my screen. They gave me a verbal, Carl. They said they were going to meet with me. That's not a set appointment. A set appointment said, I'll be at your house tomorrow at 3 p.m. Not a potential appointment. I love looking at zeros because it motivates me. Meeting face-to-face. Meeting is not some Instagram post or a Facebook post, WeChat, WhatsApp, whatever you're out there. It's not some like, it's not some comment on the page. It's actually face-to-face, whether it's now today with Zoom or actually in person. Listing. It's not a promise of a listing. It's a signed and executed listed agreement. You got it? That's how you measure your results here. So now I'm ready for questions. Was that good? I hope so.
Hey, Mike, really, that was awesome stuff. A lot of the stuff you say, we talk about all the time. I mean, you nailed it. I love about getting attached to the process, not the outcome. You know, you're not going to make 100 calls and get 100 listings out of it, right? It's just the reality. But the more you get used to your system and your process and your approach at it, and the more consistent you are, then the listings will come.
100%.
All right, so we have some questions here in the chat. Do you leave a message when you get a voicemail, or you try other methods like texting?
So, I use some systems, if I'm going to leave a voicemail, if you're using a dialer, you can have a voicemail drop. Yeah, and yes, so if I'm using a dialer, what I like to use, my gosh, I'm going to give some secrets here, guys. I don't actually like to leave a voicemail, okay? I just leave an airdrop. What's an airdrop, Mike? I literally go.
Like a slot?
Because what happens, think about it, guys, as was taught in the class, people are curious. If there's just an airdrop, literally an airdrop, like, I think I'm like, who the heck was that? Let me call this person back. But I know it's Carl. You know what's funny, Carl? Some agents are so fearful of them getting the call back. You want that call back, right? You know what I mean? They're like, I hope they don't call me. I actually left a voicemail, but I actually hope they don't call me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the point is, I don't leave I think it's a waste of time. And by the way, guys, I know a lot of you. So if I come off in a certain way, I'm actually just trying to come from the side of help. So if I say something very direct, please, no, nothing. But I do think voicemails are a waste of time. Why? Think about this: efficiency. If it takes you 30 seconds to leave a voicemail and you made 100 calls, that's 100 calls times. You made 100 dials, and 200 dials, 100 went to voicemail. That's 100 times 30 seconds. That's a lot of waste of time. That there's no cute voice that's going to get them to call you back or some special message. So if you're using a dialer, personally, I would just use the voice drop feature. Right. So most people calling expireds will know what that is. If you don't, you go into Vulcan or Mojo, whatever you use, and pre-record something. If you're the type of person that doesn't want to just leave a blank message, that just like makes a click or something like that, so they stay curious, then leave a voicemail.
Right. And I like making those calls with a tracking phone number, so when they call back, it's somebody calling back off your calls. You know me. I love that stuff.
I know you. I was right. I was waiting for it.
But if you see the number ringing on your phone and that's the number you use to make outbound calls, your approach on how you pick up that call is going to be so different. And we've all heard those agents who pick up the phone. They're like, "Hello," Oh yeah, I'm thinking about selling my house. Like, oh hi, how are you? Isn't today like a beautiful
Oh my
day?
gosh. Me
Instead
and
of
you have talked
coming at
about it.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, instead of coming in where they know if they see that phone number and they know it's a lead, they're going to have that approach right away. You only get one chance to make that first impression, and how you answer the phone and set the tone could be a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you mentioned that because another thing is if the homeowner calls you and they say, "Hey, I'm busy right now. I've got my kids, I got my dog." Let's be real. They don't care about your kids. They don't care about your dog. If you're busy, you're reminding them of their last agent because their last agent said the same thing. Their last agent said, "I'm busy with my family. I'm busy with my dog, my cat, my yoga class." So don't give them that impression. So that's why that tracking number is phenomenal.
Yeah. Also, so we have a question. What about your plan after you get in the foot in the door and they say they're interviewing three other agents? I think I know where you're going to go with this response. You think you're going to weed it out before you get in there. But what do you say when someone says they're interviewing three other agents?
Now, are we talking prior or when I'm in there?
No, when you get in there. So let's just say you get into the appointment and someone's saying, "Oh, well, I'm interviewing three other agents."
Well, I'm excited that you came up with that plan to interview three other agents. Remember, stay curious, as the program mentioned. Stay curious. First question is, why are you interviewing three other agents? Don't acknowledge that that's a good idea, because guess what? You'll guys, if you acknowledge that that's a good idea, then they're going to interview three other agents. Yes,
Right.
yes. So I would just say, stay curious. Why is it that you're interviewing three other agents? Because I want to understand. Remember, seek to understand. Sorry to bring Adam Contis, but that's just always he's like said that a million times. Seek to understand. Why are you thinking about interviewing other agents? Is there a reason? And let them come up with a reason. Then they'll give you a chance to close the deal. No, we're just the type of people that like to meet other people. But remember, this is expired class, guys. But and this is what I make that little face. So you mean to tell me all that I presented? Do you think I'm not good enough? Right? You got to go, do you think I'm not good enough? Is there something I missed? No, Mike, we're just the type of people that we like to meet other people. But wait a minute. You told me before I got here that a bunch of people called you. Right? Keep playing it until you go for the close. Punch to the close. Does that make sense, Carl?
Yeah, no, exactly. I like to establish in the beginning when I walk in that we're going to establish that to see if we're a good fit for each other. I'm sorry, this was something I didn't talk about. Are we not the right fit?
Right.
It's things like that go back. Don't shy away or don't clam up when you get asked it. Like you said, just come from a place of curiosity. Other question is, what do you do to make yourself stand out? And how do you convince them to lower the price after you take the listing?
Right. So that's a common mistake that a lot of agents make. They immediately say you've got to lower your price. That's why your house is not selling. And then those agents are disappointed when they relist with the old agent, because sometimes people really do feel bad for the last agent. Think about this. If they interviewed now 10 agents, all of them said you should reduce the price, they may say, well, Johnny said I should reduce the price. You know what? Johnny worked for 7 months on this thing. Let me give it back to Johnny. Don't give that information to an expired listing. You don't need to talk about that. Remember, stay curious as to why they think their house didn't sell. Let them tell you why they think it didn't sell, okay, and then go for the close. So I think that once they tell you, yeah, as far as reducing the price, once they've acknowledged, so just as Carl mentioned before, once they've acknowledged that you're the right fit and they want to go with you, then that's when you can start talking about strategy. You understand? So once you're able to present, then you can start talking about strategy. Many agents will focus on, well, the price is wrong. That's not a strategy. You got to go into your presentation. And Carl, you're a big trainer yourself, so I'm sure these guys, somewhere the group has it over here. I know they do actually. Use all the other tactics to provide value, and then you go right for the close. But don't talk about pricing right away. But Mike, I don't want to take an overpriced listing. 2 reasons why you'll take an overpriced listing, in my personal opinion. One, motivation. I think it comes down to motivation. A person is ready to sell, but once you show them the pathway of that there's a better way, maybe the marketing was off, you're a more proactive agent, they'll follow your lead. The other reason why I believe that they would overprice it in many cases is because there's no motivation. They're afraid. They don't have a plan. They weren't moving. They didn't find their house in Florida. Their cousin is a part owner in the house, so they really don't want to sell. So I think the overpricing piece, Carl, is a lack of motivation, and it's for further discussion. But if they're giving you their motivation and you think that that's a good reason, they'll eventually reduce the price. Stop trying to be a licensed appraiser, because you're not. I know some people, maybe there is some people that are on here licensed appraiser, but you're not a licensed appraiser. So don't try to be that laser beam like, oh, you have to price it. I'm like a data scientist. Guys, you're not most of you are not a data scientist, because that would be really cool, and you make a crap load of money if you're a data scientist. So you're not a data scientist.
So, Mike, I appreciate your time. We have just a couple more questions. I know you have to hop onto another Zoom soon, so we'll try to get it through quick. How do you answer, I'm going to try it on my own for now?
I always like to get to this punchline. Why is that? And stay quiet. Power the pause. Why is that? Right. So we're not in a FSBO class right now, but FSBOs, expired that turns to FSBO. There's a reason why they're going to go for sale by owner. Why is that? Now, and once they give you the reason, you'll use the stuff that Remax First has taught. Once they give you the reason, then you can start identifying, you can start closing the deal on why they're becoming a for sale by owner, right? Well, I don't think all you agents are the same. Well, and then it goes back to what Carl said before. So what I presented here wasn't enough, you don't think I'm good. And I'm pretty aggressive like that. So you don't think I'm good. We just presented for an hour, and I thought we were getting somewhere. No, Mike, it's not you, man. It's not you. I just want to try it on my own. Okay, so why do you want to try it on your own? Mike, I know how all your agents are. You put a listing on Zillow. I can go on Zillow for free. Okay, I can go on Zillow for free. Here's a little nugget alert, guys. Ready? Can I ask you a question? Sure, Mike. So do you really think that it's for free on Zillow? Well, yeah, Mike, I can go on Zillow right now. And by the way, I just know that Zillow, so this is not a commercial for Zillow. It's free for owners to put their listing on Zillow, right? So can I ask you a question about this nugget alert? Can I ask you a question? Do you know how Zillow operates? No, what do you mean? Did you know Zillow is a publicly traded company? And pause right there. You always said, because listen, I'm not saying you wouldn't have known this, but I do this every day. Did you know that Zillow is a publicly traded company? Have I got your attention, guys? Did you know Zillow is a publicly? Okay. So what do you mean, Mike? So they're a business for profit. Can I ask you a question? If you were a business that's publicly traded and you were a for-profit business, would you do things for free? Well, so tell me how it works, Mike. Well, agents spend money on advertisement on Zillow. In fact, it's a large percentage, and I won't share that here because we are recording. I have a pretty good idea of what the number is, but it's a majority of Zillow and a lot of these portals, their business comes from advertising. So when a homeowner says it's free to advertise on Zillow, well, so what does that mean, Mike? Well, that means most likely, this is a line I use, most likely when you put your listing on Zillow, it's going, the inquiries, just like an agent that doesn't advertise on these portals, the inquiries will go to a paid advertiser. Does that make sense? No, Mike, I don't understand. So you're going to put your listing there, right? Because it's free, but they're going to monetize off of the data, the listing, because that's the product. So what do you mean? That means a huge portion, a large portion. Some have said it's, and I don't want to disclose it now, but it's a very large portion of those leads or increase will go to a paid advertiser. That's how Zillow's model works. That's how they make their money. Does that make sense? There comes the self-discovery. So Carl, that was a nugget. I got plenty of other nuggets, but that was a nugget. Because sometimes when they say I can put it on those websites for free, that's my little nugget. But I got other ones, but hopefully I'm going to let you guys sit with that one for a minute.
We got one last question here. Mike, what do you do when you're making a bunch of calls and somebody calls you back and you pick up and you're not sure like what the address is because you've been calling?
That's a good way to end this. I just love to blow a kiss to everybody. So if you're focused on the property, you're taking the wrong approach. It's the same approach with the buyer that comes off of Remax.com. It's the same approach that the buyer comes off of any of the portals or your own personal website. If you focus on the property, you become an order taker. You become an Uber driver. The key to this is all relationship. It's all relationship. So when they call you back, yeah, Carl, what's your name again? Oh, Carl. Hey, Carl, I was calling a bunch of people today that was on the market and it came off the market. Are you still for sale? Guys, because think about this. Is it really about the property or is it about the situation? Because it's not about the property. It's not about the property. It's about this. It's the same thing with the buyer coming off of Zillow or Realtor.com or Remax. Guys, if you are scrambling, right? The buyer called me off of Zillow. Let's go buyers for a second. Then we'll go back to the sellers. Oh my gosh, I might come in my car. I don't know the listing. I got to have the MO, right? I've coached enough agents. I've done it myself. Oh, Mike, I need to be in front of Zillow because I got to know every single detail. When Betty Buyer calls, let's go back to buyers for a second. When Betty Buyer calls, she's calling about a particular property, but she's been through a journey. So typically she wants to connect with an agent. That's the purpose. She's calling about a property, but she's frustrated. Same thing here. The homeowner is frustrated by the situation. If you think that you need to know it's a fully detached, it's a ranch house, it's a new kitchen, it's a new bath, they're not giving you the time of day. It's an expired listing. They're not giving you the time of day. You just need to focus on, hey, Carl, I was making a bunch of calls early today. There were some people I want to help. There's some people I want to help. And what do you mean, Mike? Well, I'm a real estate agent with Remax, Remax First, Remax Edge. And, some folks that I called early today, they came off the market. And I was a little disappointed and sad for them. So I was just calling to see how I can be of assistance. So Carl, I noticed that your house came off the market. Why did you think it didn't sell? And that's how I do it, Carl. Because it's always it's the situation, get them off the topic, because guess why? If they're burned, if they're really upset at their last agent, they're going to start telling you.
Right.
They're going to start telling, oh my gosh, Mike, you know what? That last agent, you're all this. It goes back into what we just taught, this whole program. It goes back to their frustration. Seek to understand.
Right. And at that point, too, it's the property's irrelevant.
Oh, 100%. And that's the key. If you find yourself, you should pinch yourself, kick yourself in the rear. Every time you think you got to scramble for the papers, which property was this? You already you're losing.
Right.
Because I know my expired ninjas, they're literally not looking at the property. They're just like letting those calls. That's why a lot of people are not comfortable with dialers, because they think it's about the property. Oh, Mike, I gotta know the property, Mike. Don't you have to know the property? Actually, no. You just need to know what happened.
And your goal on that call is not to list the house.
No.
The goal is to get the appointment to meet either virtually or in person with the seller, period. I hear agents try to call expired and they go into commissions and they go into this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, stop, hang up the phone, because even if you get them to agree, have that talk virtually, face to face, build rapport. And that's why when I coach listing appointments, there's 13 questions that we like to ask sellers before we go into marketing, before we go into price, before we go into anything, even about the house, because you're trying to build that relationship. What's the most important thing to the seller when they're selling the house? Themselves. They're the most important thing, not you.
Goes back to relationships, right? If someone had a bad relationship before, and I know it sounds funny or nasty, or you forgot about because you've been married for so long. Even if you're married, you have to focus on your loved one, your partner. You have to listen, seek to understand. So same thing. If they broke up with their last agent, they're not going to want to hear about you and how great you are. They want to talk about themselves, and rightfully so.
And the more you talk about yourself and the more you talk about your awards, your brand, everything else, more you sound like the other agents. I did a FSBO training yesterday for anyone that was on it. And what did I say? It's about the seller. It's how you help them. You're there as a consultant. You just drop the rhetoric about you. It's really about them.
Yeah.
And that's why pre-listing packet's also a great thing. That's a good brag book. But that's a whole nother thing. Mike, listen, man, it's been an hour and 15 minutes. I don't want to take up any more of your time.
No, man, this has been fun. I love your office. Really, it's been fun. And please feel free to reach out to me. I'm on Instagram. I'm Mike Knapp, or just find me on Facebook, Mike Napolitano. Happy to help out, and especially for you, Carl and Olivier. And Jason, you guys are an awesome office. You're doing great things, and I'm always happy to contribute. So thank you for this opportunity as well.
I appreciate it, guys. If you enjoyed it, just drop a thank you in the chat for Mike for taking his time to do this. Because, one thing that I still learned from just hearing Mike, and I talk to Mike almost every day. So to be able to pick up things was great. So Mike, we appreciate it, and we'll
Awesome.
talk to you soon.
All right, guys, take care. Bye now.
Bye.